What's going on, guys? Austin here, back with another video. This time we're going to be doing a video on sampling in Logic Pro X. And the reason I'm making this video about sampling right now, I haven't seen a video recently that kind of proved that it could be done and showed all the steps necessary to make a nice beat. The beat that I'm going to try to make is some Joey Badass type gritty boom bap something, I don't know. So the first step is you just got to find a sample. I'd recommend just going to a record store and looking, because the internet, you have to know exactly what you're looking for to really find it most of the time. And at a record store, you just can go to jazz, go to soul, find a really cool album cover or something. You go in the back. If they let you listen to the record before you buy it, do that. I think that's a great way to do it. If you don't have the luxury, just go to YouTube. If you don't want to go out, go to the record store, you have to do it right now, or you're just more comfortable taking digital files. I'd say go to Samples to the Chop, run through any of these playlists, click on any of them. Tons of different artists that you can get turned on to, and a lot of these are, some of these are obscure, some of them are from popular tracks, so just watch out for that, because if you sample the wrong beat that someone else has already sampled, it'll piss somebody off probably, or just get roasted or something. So the next step is you need to figure out the BPM for the song. This is just so you can figure out if you need to time stretch your song, slow it down, speed it up. If you like the BPM it already is, figure out the groove, the BPM, so you can match all your drums to it. If you wanted to change the timing of your beat, I'm not going to do it for this one. I've already picked mine out. I don't like the BPM. If you wanted to slow it down or speed it up, I'd just go to double click the track, file, functions, and then time and pitch machine. Make sure your algorithm's complex. This is your original tempo. Just change it to the destination you want it. So if you wanted 80, not 90 BPM, you want to slow it down, just type in 80 BPM, process and paste, and it'll do it for you. For this specific song, I'm going to be sampling main melody parts and a drum piece, so it's gonna be pretty cool. I've listened to this before, so I kind of know what I'm gonna be chopping, but before I start chopping, I'm gonna kind of show you my favorite way to do it. It's pretty precise. You go to the flex editor right here, click on your flex editor, it'll go ahead and analyze your track. I just go to flex time rhythmic. I don't know if that makes a huge difference. Then you go and you can start doing chops to transients. So your chops are really precise, and it usually helps in the long run when you start actually playing it out. But I mean, if you want your chops to be a little less precise and cleaned up, then you can do it by hand. I have the key command, Command T, and that just, while I'm playing it, I can chop it up. And no chop is set in stone. You can go back and you can adjust your loops. But yeah, so I'm gonna just listen to this track, make my chops, and then we'll make a beat out of it. Alright, and what I did here is you can do chops wherever. It doesn't have to be directly on the transient. So this one just happened to be not on a transient that Logic gave us. So I'm just showing you right here that you can do whatever. Make it work wherever. Alright, so once you've gone through, listened to your song, made all your chops, the only thing you have to do is go to Slice at Flex Markers. You got to right click, go to Slice at Flex Markers, and all your chops are made. It's as easy as that. I recommend checking the ends for excess, bit of silence at the beginning. Not this. Do not want that. Alright, so I think these are all the chops I want. I found some really cool stuff. There's acapella at the end that I like, and then so once you're done with all this, I'd say the best thing to do is go in and turn off Enable Flex, because then if you want to change tempo later, let's go ahead and show you. I'll save real quick. If you go and change tempo later, it'll end up affecting how quick your song plays. This is original, and the one that sounded sped up before, so just don't do it. So once you got your chops and you're ready to start actually sampling, I always go ahead and make my sampler. And to do that, there, right click the top, and then go down to this option to convert and just convert to a new sampler track. Call it whatever is relevant to you. I'm just gonna leave the artist name. I like to start at C1, and I mean, it's personal preference. You got to do whatever, but then make sure you're creating zones from regions. Yeah, you don't have to check this, and then you just hit OK. Now once that's done, I usually like to hide my audio just to make things a little cleaner, and then I go in and I delete those regions because I don't need to hear that. All right, for the next part, I'm gonna get my MIDI keyboard. You don't have to have a MIDI keyboard. You could just do Command K and use those keys, so you don't have to buy anything. You're gonna have to set up your EXS24, or else you're just gonna get sounds like this when you hit a key or a pad. So basically all you want to do is you want to be able to press the pad, trigger the sound, and let it keep going on until you hit the next pad to make that pad sound stop, and then trigger the sound that you want to trigger. And if that didn't make sense, that's fine. Just copy down my settings, bring up your release all the way. I bring up the decay, bring up the attack so it's not as... Then I throw the voice to mono, no pad, plays at the same time, and creates this really ugly sound like this. Like that, where they all just overlap. So... So basically now all your pads are going to play one at a time, and it's going to really give you that nice sampled feel. All right, so after you've done after you created your samplers, put your settings in, you can play around with the pads, do whatever. This really becomes modular. All you have to do now is you have to set your drums, set your loop, and then kind of figure out what you're going to play. All right, so after you set your sampler, you can do a lot of different things. I, by habit, always go for the drums first. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a drum loop for a little bit, and then I'm going to figure out what I want to play from the song. I'm going to use that kick, not that hi-hat. I'll use a different hi-hat. But I mean, this is all up to you. You could use any kit. You could use anything in Logic. There's free kits online. Just type in vinyl drum kits, free. You'll find something. I like that. And then it's really simple. I just lay it down, basically same pattern. I mean, you can get crazy with your hi-hats and do whatever. For the sake of this video, I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'll just leave the velocities varying for a little bit of, I don't know, volume fluctuation. It just so happened that in my song, I sampled a snare. There it is. And you can kind of hear the song behind it. I'm gonna go ahead and set the loop so that you do not hear the song behind it. Just go back to your sampler, hit edit, make sure that you can see that edit button. If you can't, type in on Google advanced options in Logic Pro X. You'll figure out more about that. You just have to make sure that you've done that in your preferences. You've checked it to see all your advanced options. Sounds pretty trash. This is where you can really experiment. You don't have to use sounds from your sample, but you know that. You could just use anything. You could use 808s. They just sound like... I'm literally doing 2 and the 4. I'm not even getting crazy. Mastermind. I'm throwing reverb on it because it sounds dry as fuck. And I'm not even like a fan of this reverb, to be honest, but it'll do it. It'll do for right now. Just to give me a sound, because I don't want to listen to the dry snare over and over. I'm gonna make just a simple kick drum pattern. I think the kick is where you can get the most creative. I usually just fill out the song, play whatever, and then after I play the kick, then I'll set levels and we'll move back onto the sample. Alright, so we loop back. I always do a 9-bar or 8-bar loop. When I want to go to quantize them, just make sure you're doing 16th notes, or else you're just gonna fuck up your pattern. It's not gonna sound the way that you played it. And while I was playing that kick drum, I noticed the snare sounds like shit. So we're gonna use a different snare. I'm gonna go for like a gritty. Yeah, why not? You're going for like imperfect sounds, something, can be lo-fi, but just something that sounds interesting to your ear. That sounded pretty cool to me. Might have to turn up the level. Something I like to do to scroll through samples, hit Option and the arrow key on your keyboard, and you can go between them. I like that one, honestly, so I'm gonna go with that. Right now I'm just EQing just to make things sound a little better. So go back on the snare. Now on to the kick. I'm just gonna take out like this cork sound. There's just something in the kick. I've used this kick before. It's around here. Yeah, focuses the kick drum. It's a really basic kick, so you're around boosting around 80 hertz. I don't care right now. We're in the creative process still. I'm doing a little bit of stuff. Alright, so I'm just gonna go play around on the sampler, listen to my drum loop, and I'm gonna figure out what I want to sample. So after that, continue on with the video. Alright, I'm back. I don't know how much time has passed, but I found a little piece for an intro that I can sample. It's just this little thing that I did over and over. And then I added a resolution, and then it kind of segues into this main part. It's not the best transition, it's not the best beat. It's just for learning purposes. I might make something else later, chop it up. What I did was I played this part, I repeated it 3 times, let it go through, and then on the third one, I switched it up and I added a little number. And then to kind of give it that intro, what I did was I took away some of the quality. I added a high pass and a low pass filter, so I could kind of cut out the super lows, super highs to give it that quality, and then I add those back when the beat fully kicks in. And then for the main sample, I'm gonna turn you on to this. This is a free plugin by Isotope. I recommend you get it. It's called Vinyl. I added warp depth with this bit, which is like pitch modulation. So basically the pitch isn't perfect, kind of like a record. You can make it mono if you want. I'm probably gonna switch mono on, just so when stereo pops in, you're like, wow. And then the 1960, 2000, these years, it kind of just gives you, it takes away low end the further down you go, kind of. It takes away low end and high end. It's pretty neat. I love this plugin. I use it a lot. I recommend that you get it. It's free. And then there's this plugin that I use. It's not expensive at all. It's called One Knob Pumper. It's a sidechain plugin, so you could look up any video on sidechaining in any DAW, and you can get the same effect. And you just have to create a ghost kick or something. But I just use the pumper on the 1/4, and that just makes it so if I'm off time any little bit, it doesn't step on my kick and snare, or the sample doesn't step on my kick and snare, and it appears them in time still. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. I'm gonna play it for you now, and just remember this is a really quick beat that I just made, and so don't hold it to any huge standard. And there you go. I mean, it sounds pretty good. The intro transition into the main part is a little sloppy. They don't really go together, so I might have to redo the intro. And then the kicks seem a little busy, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna adjust those. Other than that, I mean, it's a pretty solid beat. I'm gonna take out some kicks, and I think that'll about do it. I think what I found is that the sample has a hit in it, which I tried to take out with EQ, and the kick that I play is at the exact same time as the hit, and it just sounds terrible, so. All right, so that's pretty much all I wanted to do. It's not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. I just wanted to show that sampling is possible in Logic if you didn't know already, or if you're just interested in learning how to use Logic. Now you can get on and make some sampled beats. I always look for stabs and stuff like just like a piano chord hit or brass or vocals. Anyways, I hope you'd enjoyed this video. If you subscribe, I'd appreciate it. If not, it's alright. I at least hope you learned something from this video. And I'm gonna go up, finish this beat, and I'll talk to you later.